welcome to yet another bonus episode of the Half Price Concessions podcast, where we dive into some content and topics just off the beaten path of what our midweek episodes are discussing. This week, we decided to go in-depth into the legend of three-time NASCAR champion, Bob Wellborn. While his name may only be known to some as a 9-time Grand National winner, there's a lot more to learn and tell about this North Carolina native, who was named as one of NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers back in 1998. On the other side of this quick break, we'll take a trip back in time to learn about this NASCAR legend. Hey guys, have you heard about Anchor? Well, you should. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. First and foremost, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your cell phone or your computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you. It takes all the work out of it. Your podcast can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Just download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. This episode of the Half Price Concessions podcast is brought to you with support from Performance Center Racing Warehouse. In addition to being the home of the PRW chassis, Performance Center offers in-house setups and consulting, plus suspension and chassis pull-down analysis, along with their fabrication shop that can re-clip your race car with the fastest turnaround in the industry. Give Roger Johnson and the Performance Center team the chance to earn your racing business by calling them today at 704-838-1400 or visit them online at performancecenter.com. That's PERFORMANCENTER.com. Robert Joe Wellborn was born on May 5, 1928 in Denton, North Carolina, a small town in Davidson County that at the time had a population of around 540 souls. At the age of 22, Bob would enter his first NASCAR Grand National race on October the 19th of 1952, racing at the half-mile Martinsville Speedway in a 200-lap race on an old dirt surface. Over 7,200 people flocked in to see the names like Fonty Flock, Lee Petty, Bill Blair, and Cotton Owens all run behind eventual race winner Herb Thomas, driving the 1952 fabulous Hudson Hornet. The 22-year-old Bob Wellborn would finish 24th in his 51 Plymouth, driving for car owner Julian Petty, and end up finishing in 20th. Bob was scored 63 laps down due to a steering issue, but still finished ahead of 9 other drivers. Wellborn would start 2 more races in 1952 in the Grand National Series, finishing a season-high 12th at North Wilkesboro for J.O. Good's Southern Motors sponsored Plymouth and 21st at Atlanta. In 1953, Wellborn would earn 2 career firsts at the Grand National level. His first top 10 finish at Hickory Motor Speedway in North Carolina, where he would finish 6th on May the 16th of that 1953 season. His first top 5 would come in October at the Bloomsburg Fairgrounds in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, a 5th place finish that paid $200 for 200 laps on another half-mile dirt track surface. Throughout Wellborn's career, he would drive for multiple car owners that included the before-mentioned Julian Petty, J.O. Good, along with names such as Petty Enterprises, George Hutchins, W.J. Ridgway, Joe Lee Johnson, J.C. Parker, Bud Moore, and even a 3-race stint driving for Holman Moody Racing. Bob's first pole award would come in 1955. At the time he was 27 years old, Wellborn would put his self-owned 55 Chevrolet on the pole at Greenville-Pickens Speedway in Greenville, South Carolina. His average speed of 58.037 miles per hour around the half-mile dirt track surface was good enough to take the number 1 qualifying spot. Despite starting up front, he never led a lap. All 200 laps of the feature were led by eventual race winner Tim Flock. Wellborn would have to settle for 3rd behind Flock and Junior Johnson. Before we can get to the first of Wellborn's eventual 9 wins in the NASCAR Grand National Series, a new division would open up in NASCAR that would lead to the majority of Wellborn's NASCAR success. Late in 1955, in an effort to expand their racing footprint, NASCAR purchased the Society of Autosports Fellowship and Education's all-convertible Circuit of Champions. The safe All-Star Circuit had a roster full of drivers, most of whom, however, did not make the transition to race under NASCAR's ownership of their series. Some of the remnants of this old series are still around today. The use of the qualifying races at Daytona, where one of the races would be reserved for convertibles, and even the Bojangles Southern 500 at Darlington, which started as a convertible race until the division was folded up for good in 1962. Back to Wellborn's story, though. In 1956, in only his second start in the newly NASCAR-sanctioned Convertible Series, Bob Wellborn would earn a win at Champion Speedway in Fayetteville, North Carolina, on April 8, 1956. Driving his own 56 Chevrolet, Wellborn would start on the pole, lead the first 22 laps, then make the winning pass with just 17 laps to go in the 150-lap feature event, and take the checkered flag over an 18-car field that saw such legends as Curtis Turner, Joe Weatherly, and Todd Pistone all run behind him. Wellborn had $700 and his first NASCAR win. He'd end up winning 3 convertible races in 1956, driving his own car along with 32 top 5s and 39 top 10 finishes. That consistency over the course of the season would lead to the first of 3 consecutive championships in the NASCAR Convertible Series. Wellborn's first win in the NASCAR Grand National division would come on October the 6th of 1957, racing in the Sweepstakes 500 at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Wellborn would qualify his 57 Chevrolet second fastest and lead the first 183 laps. It was passed by Lee Petty, but then would regain the lead on lap 249 and lead the final 251 circuits to earn the win and a $3,100 payday. Besting Jimmy Massey, Lee Petty, Rex White, and Joe Weatherly, just to name a few of the 40-car field. To go along with his 3 top 5 finishes in the season in the NASCAR Grand National Series, Wellborn would have another banner year in his convertible, winning 6 races along with 21 top 5s and 29 top 10s en route to a second consecutive convertible championship. 1958 would be Wellborn's most celebrated season in the Grand National Series, winning 5 of the 18 races he entered, along with 10 top 5s and 15 top 10s. In 1959, Bob Wellborn would follow up with 3 more NASCAR Grand National Series wins, his final win coming on August the 16th of 1959 in the Western North Carolina 500 at the Asheville-Weaverville Speedway in Weaverville, North Carolina. Driving his own 59 Chevrolet, he'd finished 3 laps ahead of second-place Lee Petty and 7 laps ahead of third-place Jack Smith to take home a $3,200 payday. 1959 would also be the final full-time year of the NASCAR Convertible Series Wellborn had been a 3-time champion of. His final win in the convertibles ironically came at the same track, the Asheville-Weaverville Speedway previously mentioned. Wellborn would qualify on the pole and won a 200-lap feature that paid $800 over names like Banjo Matthews, Larry Frank, Joe Lee Johnson, and Buck Baker. Wellborn would continue to race part-time in the NASCAR Grand National Series until 1964, but would never again visit Victory Lane. His last race on record would come on July 21, 1964, in the Pennsylvania 200 at the Lincoln Speedway in New Oxford, Pennsylvania. Starting in a 64 Ford in second place, Wellborn would lead the first 125 laps, before giving up the lead to eventual race winner David Pearson. His day would end on lap 169 with engine trouble and relegated him to an 11th place finish for Holman Moody Racing. The top 5 that day would include Richard Petty, Jimmy Pardue, Wendell Scott, and Doug Yates. Over the course of a 13-year career in NASCAR, Bob Wellborn's stat line reads like this. In the Grand National Series, Wellborn would make 183 starts from 1952 to 1964. He earned 9 career wins, 58 top 5s, and 102 top 10s. Wellborn also recorded 7 poles in the NASCAR Grand National Series. In the NASCAR Convertible Series, Wellborn's numbers were second to none. 19 wins in 111 starts, 69 top 5s, and 87 top 10s. Pair that with 18 pole awards and the 3 consecutive championships that he won. Bob Wellborn passed away on August the 10th, 1997, at the age of 69. And therein lies the story of the man called the King of the Convertibles, Bob Wellborn, the Denton, North Carolina native who earned 3 consecutive NASCAR championships. Special thanks to Racing Reference for compiling all the stats used for this episode, along with notes from NASCAR.com. Thank you for listening to yet another edition of the Half Price Concessions Podcast. Do us a favor, whichever podcast app you're listening to this on, if there's a section to leave a rating and review, please do so. It would really help us out a ton. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at HPC Podcast. Be sure to like our Facebook page by searching for the Half Price Concessions Podcast. If you got family or friends that want to listen but don't have a podcast app, you can go to our website to listen to any and all of our episodes at www.anchor.fm/HPC Podcast. Also, if you want to email the show, you can do so by emailing halfpricedconcessionspodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear any and all feedback that you have. Thank you for listening. My name is Tyler Williams, and I hope that you have a great day.